Hey guys, good evening. Welcome back to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope everyone has had a fantastic Wednesday evening so far. Hope everyone's looking forward to the end of this week. And hope everyone's looking forward to another brand new weekend in April 2023 this year. First of all, do a massive favour for me, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, that is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new. Remember to share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember, put that notification bell at all times to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy. We're also now doing Rocket League as well, more FIFA 23 career mode, Football Manager, and much more brand stuff planned for the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. So please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new, and good evening to all of you, and welcome to the reaction between Manchester United and Brentford Football Club at Old Trafford Football Stadium this evening on this wet and soggy and miserable Wednesday night weather we are having in the UK, where Manchester United have come out on top against Brentford, winning 1-0 at Old Trafford Football Stadium this evening on match day 28 of the 2022-2023 Premier League season. And I mean, thank God for Marcus Rashford. I mean, where the hell Manchester United Football Club would be without Marcus Rashford this season? I mean, bloody hell. It's hard enough this season what Man United fans have had to go through, and, the success we've had under Erik ten Hag. But thank God Marcus Rashford has got that goal this evening to win us this game, get us the 3 points and get us the victory at Old Trafford in the Premier League season against Brentford after the disappointing and unacceptable result against Newcastle. Manchester United have found a way to win by the scrape of their teeth. I mean, there's nothing really to shout about that performance. There wasn't really anything to get anything up off your feet. I think Manchester United really have got lucky against a Brentford team that, have surprised a lot of us this season, competing for European place in European football next season. But also the way they are playing against every other Premier League team that, Brentford have got a special team. They've got a really special manager, and they've got some very, very good players in that Brentford team. But I'm just thinking, where would we be without Marcus Rashford? You look at that team and you look at that performance. If he doesn't get this goal this evening, it finishes 0-0, and we don't win that game and we don't get the result we need. But we can't keep relying on Marcus Rashford to keep doing it in week in, week out. We simply just don't have, I think, the firepower. I don't think we have the squad depth, and I personally don't think Man United have got the squad to be able to go to the end of the season till May for the Europa League, FA Cup and the Premier League season, which we're all left in. And after, especially, we haven't won a Premier League game since the Carabao Cup final when we beat Newcastle 2-0 in that final at Wembley to lift the first trophy under Erik ten Hag as a new Man United manager. I'm just thinking, has this team realistically got it in them to go till May? I don't believe so. We have. I do feel like we played well tonight. I do feel like Man United did come out their shell. I thought we were a lot better tonight. I felt that the attacking flair from Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford and Anthony was up there for probably our best first half performances of the season so far. I feel like they were causing Brentford a lot of problems, and I think Marcus Rashford was giving a lot of those Brentford defenders a lot of headaches in Pinnock and Janssen. And I felt like that was probably the most pivotal point to the team today. If the result is that the Brentford were very, very vulnerable at the back today, and that luckily that Marcus Rashford gets the goal and he takes it well to get the finish. I mean, 28 goals a season, you would not have had this out of Marcus Rashford last season. And I do feel like Erik ten Hag has stopped listening to the Ollie haters and the Ralph Rangnick doubters and saying that Marcus Rashford should have been sold by Man United last season. It could have been justified maybe why we should have sold him, maybe in the summer, but at least we've got him here and he looks like a completely different player under Erik ten Hag. And I feel like, with Erik ten Hag coaching and tactically performing well with these players and he's getting the best out of them, there still is a lot of improvement that is needed out of this team. Let's not beat around the bush. Man United still need a lot better to put teams like Brentford away. That 1-0 win wasn't exactly convincing as what we wanted. And I do feel like in the second half, Manchester United did tire and they did let Brentford back into the game. They were letting Brentford attack De Gea's goal. And luckily, De Gea kept a few fabulous saves out to keep Brentford from finding an equaliser and even potentially for Brentford to win the game. But as a whole, is this team improved from the weekend? I would say it has in some aspects, but that team has still got a lot to learn. And I still think we need a lot better performances out from some of these players. It wasn't the best result and it wasn't the best game to go and watch a game of football at. But at least Man United have found a way to win and they found the way to graft it to get the win they wanted. But they should have really have found a solution as soon as the goal was led and we were winning the game. As soon as we went 1-0 at Manchester United should have found a way to go on and score a few more goals against Brentford. But I think Brentford really sat back most of the game and they basically let Man United attack them. And Brentford really wanted to then counter-attack Manchester United on the counter-attack and got the end to find an equaliser. And you saw with the threat of Mbeumo and Ivan Toney, Brentford were finding opportunities to test David De Gea. And I think, Man United dealt well to get those shots at goal away from our net and hopefully, to keep the clean sheet. And that's what we've done. We've done well to keep the clean sheet tonight. I just wish, this team would be a bit more convincing, a lot better with the ball, a lot better with the attack, and basically, going to find the win to demolish teams like Brentford. I mean, Brentford are a team that will get you goals. Brentford are a team that will get shock results. And Brentford are a team that, have surprised a lot this season in Premier League football. They're surprising me that, they're up there for competing in European football. And it's surprising the way Brentford are going to teams like Man United and are not fearing anyone. And I think that's what Thomas Frank has done well at Brentford. Brentford knew that after the weekend result between Man United and Newcastle, he knew that Brentford could cause Man United a threat towards the first and the second half. And he knew that Brentford were going to get opportunities against De Gea to try and find the equaliser. But I feel like, we were that better team in the first half and Man United did dominate the game. It was probably the best performance we've seen in the first half so far this season. But why we can't find the answers to the other goals we need, it says a lot about where the quality is lacking in this team. I do personally feel like, you can't keep relying on Rashford to keep getting you out of trouble. And I know this is his 28th goal of the season, but you can't keep doing it with Marcus Rashford week in, week out. It simply isn't going to happen. I know Rashford's got the ability and the desire to go and get, his goals, to get his season up more promising and to, probably be up there for probably one of the Premier League players of the season, the way he's taking his goals and his goal rate this season, especially now he's equalled Ruud van Nistelrooy, ex-Manchester United legend's goal-scoring Premier League record now. So, Rashford was there to take his goal. You do wonder how Man United can keep going like this till May. Has Ten Hag got the squad and has he got the players available to him to keep doing it? My complete answer is no. Even though we won the game and we got the clean sheet, that was important because that Newcastle result the weekend, it was very damaging. We shouldn't have lost that game. And basically, we turned up against Brentford tonight and basically Brentford couldn't keep Man United out. And I felt like Brentford probably played too much respect to Man United and basically should have gone for the juggler to be able to go and beat Man United at Old Trafford. And they should have done it. The amount of chances Brentford had in that second half, Brentford should have got something out of this game, the way they were playing, because Thomas Frank has got Brentford set up so well. He knows he's got Ivan Toney, his main goal scoring striker, up front as a threat. He knows he's got Mbeumo on the right wing as a threat. He knows that, and eventually in that second half, Man United were going to tire out. He knew that the amount of changes Man United were making to that team and the amount of second half substitutions which were made also, it basically went in Brentford's favour in that second half. And I think for me, that is where it started to go wrong, because even though we did have the game won, sat at 1-0 right to the 90th minute, for me, that is still not good enough. You should have found a more attacking response to your 1-0 lead. You had several opportunities, Man United attacks, and basically still couldn't find that clinching second goal, which would have gave the players a bit more morale boost, a lot more confidence, because they would have been nervous. They would have been shitting their pants thinking, we've only got a 1-0 lead here. We let this shit from the manager and also the fans and supporters after this game, because if we bottle this game and we don't win it, we are basically going to let Spurs, Liverpool, Brighton, Fulham and Brentford and potentially even Chelsea back into the top four race to get Champions League football. I still feel like, are we going to get Champions League football playing like that against Brentford every week? For me, complete answer is no. We are not clinical enough up front to be able to get the goals that we want. We are nowhere near clinical enough to keep the goals we need. We are not clinical enough in the first half. We should have buried Brentford. The game was there to be had. Brentford, as soon as they went 1-0 down, the confidence and the morale was gone. Man United had an opportunity to go and bury a Brentford team that have been bloody impressive. I mean, I didn't expect Brentford to come and perform the way they did, but it didn't surprise me because I've seen it on several occasions that Brentford are capable of doing this to their teams. They're capable of doing this to their rivals. Brentford have come up with a no-fear attitude since they've been up in the Premier League. They don't fear anybody anymore, and that is what Thomas Frank's done. The fear factor is not there for Brentford. They don't fear anyone that they face, and that is what I like Thomas Frank's management style. He's got that Brentford team capable of doing magical things. If Brentford get European football this season, I will massively applaud it. But I think Man United have got off lightly this evening. If Brentford would have found a 90th minute winner, this is a completely different match reaction to what I was thinking I was doing, because 1-0, I was excited, I was ecstatic. It's like, thank God we found the goal we need. But we should have found more to be able to damage Brentford's morale and their support and their confidence they had to find an equaliser. Brentford knew coming to Old Trafford, they didn't fear Man United. They knew that there was a result to be had. If they found the result, I would have applauded it, because that is Brentford for you. Thomas Frank has built that Brentford team in, for me, to a top 4 team. That Brentford team can get Champions League football. That Brentford team could get Europa League football. Brentford get European football this season, I'll applaud it, and I'll sit there and think, well done, Brentford. I would sit there and do it. I'm not afraid to applaud Brentford style. They've got the players, they've got the manager, and they've got the quality to be able to deliver results. And if Brentford keep doing it, there's no reason why not this Brentford team can't go even further this season. But I feel like, Man United are lucky. Let's not beat around the bush. They're lucky. Really, really lucky to get the win. Whatever, don't mind. That's right, I've got my mate here. Oh yeah, it does that. Put my PS5 on if you want. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we're lucky. We're not exactly getting the job done what I think Man United are capable of. Like, there's still a lot of improvement that's needed out of those players, because if you don't have the midfield and you don't have the players and you don't have the quality to be able to finish teams like Brentford off, Brentford would have found that equaliser. And thank God we've won. We've had a good week. I mean, at least we have found a positive from that weekend result, because I think if we would have lost this game or drawn this game, this would have been a disaster of a week, because that would have been 2 games without a league win. And it would have been another league win since we've not won the Carabao Cup. So I think Man United are lucky that they got the win they need, but they don't deserve it. Not in my book, they don't. There's a lot of quality that is still needed in that team to improve it. We are missing certain key individuals in that team, like Casemiro and Christian Eriksen, that offer that midfield a lot more stability. I mean, when you're basically stuck with McTominay and Fred again, you're basically stuck with McFred for the second half. You basically knew that this was going to go bloody tits up. I thought, Fred coming on was going to be a disaster. I mean, McTominay, is still picking up too many stupid bookings still. I also feel like, with Fred, it's not comfortable in the midfield between those two. And that is why I think this is going to go wrong, because we haven't got the players available to get us till the end of the season. I feel like this could go backwards if we don't keep finding the results. If we're only scraping past Brentford, I can't imagine what it's going to be like when we have to face Chelsea at home and Spurs away, that we are going to have to go there and dominate the game and go and get wins we need, because you miss out on Champions League football. If you don't win results like this, then it only goes backwards towards Erik ten Hag's reign at this club. But he is the right manager to take this club forward, but there needs to be a lot more improvement from that team. We are scraping past teams like Brentford. It's not really thinking, we should be demolishing them. Put PS5 on if you want. Like, you should be basically battering teams like Brentford. If you show too much respect to them, you're basically knowing that, Man United are going to go completely and utterly backwards. You don't score enough goals against Brentford, which you didn't. That equaliser could have been found from Brentford's attack. That is where, for me, it could have gone wrong. You let Brentford back into that game, the points are gone, the win's gone. And if you don't win that game, you're letting everyone around you back into your spot for Champions League football next season. We've got this win, but it's nothing to say, oh my God, look how well we played. The first half, we were brilliant, even though based on the highlights, I think we were brilliant. But the second game won already. We've got the 1-0 win. What are we trying to push for? Let's sit back and let Brentford attack us, and then we'll counter-attack them. That is where it should have went. We should have came out in the second half with a bit more morale boost, saying, look, we've got the 1-0 lead. Let's go and find another goal. If we can get a third goal, kill them off. Brentford's morale's gone. We win that game comfortably. That equaliser could have happened on several occasions throughout that second half. The amount of chances Ivan Toney, Baptiste, and Mbeumo have in that second half is crazy. The quality players Brentford have got in that team, they can win trophies under this manager. Brentford can go very far in the Premier League. They could be up here for the rest of their life now. I can't see Brentford ever getting relegated, playing the way they are under Thomas Frank. They have got great team, great fan base, great supporters, great players who are actually fighting for the shirt week in, week out for Brentford. And if Brentford had won that game today, it wouldn't have surprised me because I've seen it so many times this season. Even when they won the Championship, I knew they were born for the Premier League. As soon as they got promoted, I was ecstatic because it's a new team. They've never been there. Let's see how they got on. And there's so many people said, Brentford haven't got the quality to be able to step in the Premier League. Well, they've proved so many people wrong, and they've proved it by the results they're achieving. Brentford finishing European football. You've got sports personality in 2023 in December. If you're looking at a team we should get team of the year, it should be teams like Brentford. And coach of the year, it should be teams like Thomas Frank. I felt like they did outclass Ten Hag tonight, and I felt like, that 1-0 lead was not enough to get the result we want. But at least we're sat here with the win, and we're not moaning saying we've lost, because we'd have lost this game or drawn this match. It would have been more points thrown away. And then you've got the likes of everyone around United thinking, right, they keep slipping up. Let's pounce on them like a bloody cheetah. They pounce on Man United. We slip out of top 4. I'm glad we've got the win. But as a whole purpose of a performance, more should have been done to make the result more achievable. And if you would have done that, Man United would have won this game a lot more convincingly. But if you're looking at that bench and you're looking at that first team, there are too many players in this team that featured under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ralph Rangnick, who are still at this club, who have been given more than one opportunity to play for this club and are still not good enough at this level to perform at Man United. And that is that Erik ten Hag has got no choice but to use half this dead wood, because he hasn't got the players he would have wanted in his first season as manager of this football club in his team. He hasn't got that balance there. He hasn't got that chemistry there. It's like Ultimate Team. You need the chemistry to improve the rating. If you don't have that, that team ain't performing. We are lacking so much squad options that, the injuries are piling up again. I mean, let's not beat around the bush tonight. You've given Luke Shaw a brand new 4-year contract. He's picked up yet again an end of season injury that is going to keep him out for the rest of the season with a severe hamstring injury. And you've given him a brand new 4-year contract till 2027. Whose crazy and unlogical idea was that to give Luke Shaw a brand new contract and he's already picked up an injury? A few days later, he's out injured again. And you're basically stuck with Malacia at left back for the next 5 to 6 games in a row because of Luke Shaw's hamstring injured season till the end of this campaign. What on earth are we doing at board level and owner level to keep players like Luke Shaw? I told you, he's been injury prone for years. He's never been the same since he broke his leg in 2 places. And you're telling me we're going to give him a brand new 4-year contract to keep him until 2027, who's probably on over 300 grand a week, and he's already picked up another season-ending injury. And you're telling me that was justified to give him a new contract? He was crap, though, tonight. I mean, the first 35 minutes of play he was in, Luke Shaw offered no excitement, no positivity on the left back. Still can't deliver a ball into the box. On corners and set pieces, he's terrible. Free kicks he shouldn't even be on. And I feel like, for me, if that's what a brand new 4-year contract does, then my God, we are in big trouble. Luke Shaw will let you down. You won't get you what you want in the future. There are 10, 11, 12, 15 better left backs than Luke Shaw out in world football. And apparently he's the best left back in the Premier League. I beg to differ, he ain't. He ain't that good at left back. And I felt like, you've brought Malacia in, who's had to been drafted on again because of Luke Shaw's incapacity of not being able to keep himself fit. Yet again, he's hamstrings like bloody breadsticks. He's got worse injuries than Ousmane Dembele of Barcelona. And you've given him a new contract. I mean, it's completely illogical to give him in the first place. He hasn't deserved it. He's not improved under this manager. He's never going to keep himself fit. He can't keep himself out of it. And you've given him a new 4-year contract. That has to be brought up in this reaction, because that, for me, is not acceptable. You've got a left back who's clearly injury prone, and you've got Malacia, who's probably going to be the future left back for this club, sat on the bench waiting for Luke Shaw to pick up yet another injury or for him to be suspended. Malacia has now got an opportunity to jump at this and think, you know what, I need to get my place in this team to be the full-time first team left back, and I need to cement my place now, because he's going to have an opportunity now in the next 5, 6, 7 games to prove himself. Can Malacia do it in the next few games? Can he actually do it? For me, did he have a much impact in the first half when he had to substitute for Luke Shaw? No. He didn't offer nothing going forward, and this is also my problem. We haven't got the benches of what our rivals have got. We don't have a bench like Man City or Tottenham Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, we don't have their bench quality to be able to bring on in games like that when we've got the backups we don't have. I mean, you look at that bench tonight, you've got Jack Butland, who hasn't seen a game since he signed on loan for Crystal Palace till the end of the season as a backup goalkeeper. You've got Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, who shouldn't even be on the bench, are crap. You've got Fred, Martial, Pellistri, and Weghorst. And apparently that bench is good enough to get you to the end of the season. When Weghorst yet again has decisively and justified been dropped, I think Ten Hag has had the nail hit on the head that, he thinks Weghorst has been brilliant, but in pure fact that he's been crap since he's been here. 2 goals in 12 games ain't acceptable. That as an answer for the striking issue in January transfer window of this year was a disgrace. You can see why he was dropped tonight. People cannot complain why he was dropped. People cannot complain or moan why he was on the bench, because I think Ten Hag has fucking had his mind made up now. I think he's realised Weghorst wasn't the answer, and he made a massive mistake by trying to get him in the first place. Basically, a bench warmer who shouldn't be at the club. But then you move on to Anthony Martial. He gets brought on in the second half. What does he do to change that game? What does he do as an attacking threat on goal? There is no attacking threat from that pile of crap that I saw at Sevilla and at this club for the last 2 seasons. We've got too many players here who are given more opportunity than an egg and spoon race at a school sports day. You're giving too many deadwood players an opportunity to prove themselves. If they're not good enough, don't use them. But people will then tell me, well, you've got to rotate, you've got to keep the squad fit, you've got to change the players. Well, if I've got a shit bench and I don't trust any of those flops, what am I meant to do with it? What am I doing with it? And we didn't have that tonight, and I felt sorry for Erik ten Hag. He hasn't got what he wants. He hasn't got, what he really desires. He hasn't got that Frankie de Jong. He hasn't got that Bellingham. He hasn't got that Osman or Harry Kane that can change the game in an instinct. He hasn't got that long-term to be able to keep his job as Man United manager, because he's been thrown to the wolves by clueless owners and clueless muppets that are derailing results like this. But Brentford, tonight, fair play. You gave Man United a game and you came out and fought. That shows a lot from what they've done this season. Man United paid way too much respect in that second half. If you would have finished the game off more, that game would have been won by more goals. We don't have we don't have that goal-scoring machine mentality to go and bang teams like this. But the thing is, if you can bang teams like Real Betis in Europa League and you can win the Carabao Cup, then really you should be finding some kind of cojones, showing some balls and actually trying to improve the result you've got. You're sitting at 1-0 up in that dressing room in the first half. Are you pleased with that performance? You probably are mentally deep down, but physically you're also worried and anxious that if you don't find that second goal, this game's gone. You've thrown it away. More points dropped, because this result's basically been in vain. We may have won, but if you would have beaten Newcastle at the weekend like you should have done, instead of flopping it again, more than a bloody floppy disc, then maybe we would have been sat above Newcastle right now, who smashed West Ham 5-1 this evening. That should be what Man United should be doing to teams like that. Smashing them and destroying them up. We haven't got the players to do it. That is the big problem. And I mean, you look at the amount of yellow cards we picked up. Fernandez picks up a stupid yellow card for a bad tackle on the Brentford player. He should not be making that tackle in the first place to pick up yet potentially another suspension into the next game. You shouldn't be doing it. And it's the same with Scott McTominay. You shouldn't have to be putting in such a stupid tackle to get yourself booked, because the amount of bookings we're picking up is ridiculous. The disciplinary record at this club's a joke. The amount of bookings and red cards we picked up this season is crazy. And I'm not surprised we've had suspensions, because these players cannot be trusted. And like I said, if you would have won this game more, those tackles wouldn't have been made. The second half could have been a lot easier. A lot of those players probably could have been taken off a lot sooner rather than later, because you're risking Fernandez and Scott McTominay both on yellow cards. They pick up a booking. They're both sent off. We're down to 9 men. Brentford will sniff an opportunity on more than one occasion to find an equaliser, find a winning goal. We lose this game. But I think what we did well, we didn't let Brentford start the game how they wanted it. I think Brentford in the first 15 minutes were bloody nervous as hell. They thought, bloody hell, we haven't faced what Man United have seen in the last game. We saw a completely different result against Newcastle, and all of a sudden they've come out on all guns blazing. and they're attacking us. And that's what I liked. That's what we really should be doing. But you really should be doing that for the first whole 45 minutes. You should be going all guns blazing, attacking that Brentford back four, the vulnerability of their defence, because their midfield ain't any good either. But if you look at the attack, the biggest attack in threat is Brentford's front three. They basically rely on that front three to get them their goals and get them the results they need to be able to get the wins they deserve. I mean, look what they've done in the Premier League. Look where they are in the league. I'm not surprised they're there. They've got the capability of doing that, Brentford. And I think that is where we don't really, if that first 15 minutes, you should have found at least 2 or 3 goals to get this game killed off. If that game was killed off in the first half, I do feel like, in my opinion, that if you would have won this game a lot more, we would have been sat on a more positive scoreline. But when you're relying on Marcus Rashford, it says a lot, because Eric Ten Hag's looking at the bench and he's looking at that team and thinking, what do I have as a backup? He doesn't trust half that team, but he's having to use it. He doesn't trust half that bench, but he's having to trust it. Is that the right answer? No, it's not. At Man City, you wouldn't get that. At Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, you would not get that at that type of club. You would get fire bench, a fired team, and a better squad. Man United have not got the squad at the moment to be able to do that. I think we do need Miss Casemiro back. Casemiro is a massive miss in that CDM position. That is where the midfield battle keeps getting lost in Man United's result, because when you are deploying Scott McTominay and Fred in that position, both who can't do that job anyway, they shouldn't really be starting games for this club. Why we couldn't have really played Sabitzer at CDM, Fernandes in the midfield, Sancho on the right, in the midfield in the attacking 10 position. You could have then played Anthony on the right, which you did, Rashford on the left, and maybe Martial down the middle. Maybe that would have been better than deploying a liability like Fred and McTominay from the start. Because I keep telling people this. You've got midfielders like that, and by the words of Roy Keane, they've not been good enough. They've never been good enough. And if you keep using that type of midfield and they keep letting you down before in the past, they're only going to fuck up the future for this manager. And I think he's starting to realise now that he's got such a big summer transfer window ahead, depending on who the owners of this football club is going to be. Half this deadwood has got to be released, or terminate their contracts, or try and sell them at a loss and just try and get at least something for them to try and reinvest back into the squad for the future. Because if half this squad is still here from tonight into next season, I don't know where this club goes. I really, really don't, because if the Glazers are still here, it will be sell to buy mentality. They'll go back to the same excuse they had 2 or 3 years ago and we'll be back in the same mess again. And that will be Ten Hag gone, interim manager till the end of the season, new permanent manager next year, and we'll be in the same mess in season 2. That is where it went wrong under Mourinho. His third season, it was a car crash because he didn't get back to the transfer window, didn't get the players he wants, and basically got given Fred and Delo as the answers, and Lee Grant, who's no longer at the football club. That is an issue. If you can beat Brentford, which you did, applaud it. At least you won. At least you didn't ruin my night. At least you didn't ruin my fucking evening. Because if you would have done that, I think the mood I would have been in would have been a very, very negative one. But there's still much improvement that is needed in that team. If you don't find the improvements, the cracks will only start appearing quicker and sooner. That team needs a lot of work. We should have just got the game done and dusted. Brentford were there. They were vulnerable. It was like watching a cat chase a pigeon. That is what we should have done. We should have turned into the cat and attacked that Brentford defence and goal every fucking minute. We should have been high-intensity press, trap back as a team, defend as a team, keep attacking that Brentford goal. That is what you should have done. And if you would have done that, this game ends 3-4, 5-0. Brentford are vulnerable. They were really, really vulnerable. And that is what we should have done, but we didn't. We may have won, but if you look from a bigger point of view, look at the result we could have had. Look what you could have won. But when you're relying on Marcus Rashford, I mean, the player he is now, from what he was last 2 seasons under 2 managers that were never good enough in Solskjaer and Ralph Rangnick, it basically shows the night and day transformation of Marcus Rashford. Completely different kettle of fish from what I've seen I mean, 2-3 years ago, I was like, sell him, get rid of him. I hold my hands up, get rid of him. He ain't ever going to be good enough. But what Ten Hag's done, he's completely regenerated Marcus Rashford, probably up there for one of, best players in the world at the moment because of the goal record he's got. 28 goals in a season, and to equal Ruud van Nistelrooy's Premier League goal scoring record, that says something about Marcus Rashford's form and ability. If he's got that to deal with, and if Marcus Rashford keeps scoring goals like that, Premier League defences next season until the end of the season are going to be shit scared because they're thinking, bloody hell, we've got to find a way of stopping Marcus Rashford. Brentford could not conceal that. The way Rashford was skipping past 1, 2, 3, 4 Brentford players in their box was like, where was that last season? Where was that Marcus Rashford? And I think that was probably because of naive management from 2 flops and 2 Wallies at the wheel, basically failed and disbelieved Marcus Rashford was ever going to reach the top. They basically said, he's not good enough, he's inconsistent, he ain't going to be good enough at this level, we'd be best moving on. And I think Ten Hag basically came in and said, look, Marcus, you need to step up this season. I want to see a completely regenerational player in you. You need to start stepping up to the plate. And he's done that. He's got 28 goals this season. He's nearly on 30 goals. He's probably up there for me on Erling Haaland's level. Erling Haaland is, bloody a monster. He's an absolute beast up front. I mean, the goals he's got this season is incredible. Marcus Rashford ain't there net yet. But if he had the right players around him, Marcus Rashford will get even more goals in this United shirt. And hopefully that will be here for years to come. I'm hoping that he will obviously sign a new contract. Erik ten Hag's got his best player staying at the club. And hopefully he's going to go on and score many more goals for Manchester United Football Club. But you can't keep relying on him when he does pick up injuries and he does pick up knocks. That's why he didn't feature on England international duty. Thank God he didn't have to sit in a Gareth Southgate team who basically does Solskjaer ball and basically sits back and lets the opposition international team attack them and breaks them on the counter-attack. I think that's done Marcus Rashford a world of good tonight. That the goals there, the confidence is starting to come back again. I do feel like he's lost his confidence in the last few games. You haven't seen the best Marcus Rashford against Newcastle. You didn't see it against Fulham in the FA Cup. And basically, I think tonight, those players will probably be told this is make or break. This is probably one of a key game to break our season. You don't win this game, the consequences are going to be severe. And I think Ten Hag has probably threatened the push exit button. I think he's probably told those players tonight, if you don't perform, your future's decided. And I think he's probably told some of those players, your future ain't here. I think that's probably why some of them aren't stepping up. I think some have probably been told, you ain't going to be at this club next season. I don't see you part of my project. You will be moved on. You will be sold. No ifs, no buts, no excuses. But those players really should still be performing at a level that's acceptable to a brand new manager like this. This has been our best manager since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Has actually delivered a no shit, no bullshit, no excuse manager. We did not see that under Solskjaer. We didn't see it under Ralph Rangnick, and that is where it well went wrong. Because they were too puppy-like mentality, just like David Moyes. They didn't have that admiration. They didn't have that no bullshit. They basically let players get away with a lot of crap. And basically Ten Hag has come in and delivered the law. It's my way or the fucking highway. You don't do what I tell you to do and train or perform on pitch, you're at this football club. And that is why I think Marcus Rashford has stepped up again tonight to find that goal. We don't win this game without that goal happening. And I thank God, you've got a world-class midfielder like Marcel Sabitzer to assist Marcus Rashford for that goal. Sabitzer in that team has transformed that midfield. A massive upgrade on Christian Eriksen, massive upgrade on Donny van der Beek, and can actually keep himself fit, healthy, and can perform magic in that midfield. Marcel Sabitzer is probably the January signing of the year. What he's done in that midfield since he's been at his club, he's completely regenerated it. It's like, do you know what? That was the final piece in the missing puzzle in that midfield. Adding a player like Marcel Sabitzer's quality in that team has changed Man United's midfield from what it was last season to now. Last season, we were stuck with McFred and Bruno Fernandes. This season, it's Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes, Marcel Sabitzer, and Donny van der Beek. You don't need two liabilities, two Duracell bunnies in McTominay and Fred in that midfield again. You do not need them. You get rid of those players, that midfield is completely transformed under this manager. And Sabitzer has played well tonight. And that's why I've also given him as well as Marcus Rashford, my man of the match squad. I've given both of them to them because that goal, that assist from both of them, it doesn't happen if it doesn't get happened in the first place. It's the bit that doesn't get that assist for Rashford. Rashford doesn't bury that goal. We don't win this game. It finishes 0-0. We're sat here with a disappointing result. And that is what I've started to see in the last few games. I'm starting to see that Sabitzer and Marcus Rashford connection. Basically, it reminds me of when Wayne Rooney and Carlos Tevez was at this club. Basically, players and pundits and fans like to say, Mark, those two will never be able to play up front together. Basically, that is what they said about Marcel Sabitzer and Marcus Rashford. And I think what that's done tonight, they've taken on what these pundits have said and they're thinking, right, let's prove these doubters and haters wrong, that we are going to sit them down, deliver them a big, massive piece of humble pie and deliver a massive L on their head, saying, you can say what you want about our performances, but we are going to show you what we can do if we have the chemistry. And that is what Sabitzer did. Transforms that midfield from what it was last season. That midfield was basically a trash. It was a garbage can. That is how bad it was last season. And thank God, he found that assist for Rashford to find that goal, because if we didn't have that goal, I don't know where the goal source would have come from, because Martial can't do it, Weghorst can't do it, Lindelof, Maguire, Fred, McTominay, etc., can't do it long term. And I think tonight, players like also Jadon Sancho was probably a massive, massive standout also tonight. That was probably the best Jadon Sancho we have seen in ages. Where has that been? I think he's probably not been given enough opportunity. I do feel like, the comments that were made in midweek saying Erik ten Hag is massively starting to get frustrated with Sancho. I think, has that been lies or has that been PR just to get Sancho and Erik ten Hag's back up? I do feel like, I think those comments have been made. I think, Erik ten Hag has told Jadon Sancho, you don't start stepping up, mate. You ain't got no future in next season. And time will tell if Sancho is a long-term fit for this club. But tonight I saw a completely different player. That's the player I saw at Borussia Dortmund ripping up the Bundesliga. Because that is the type of player this club deserves to have. Jadon Sancho is a Man United player born through and through. He's got the ability, he's got the skill, and he's got the desire to win. And tonight it looked like a completely regenerational birth of that player. I was like, wow, that is the Jadon Sancho I want to see. If he can keep playing like that, we should have no problems the rest of the season. We should have no issues, no remorse. That is the player that I think this club's got a future with. And I think if Sancho can start playing like that, this club has got no issue keeping him. But he's got to start producing that type of performance every single game from now. If he can keep doing that, his future's long-term here. Sancho will be transformed under this manager. I just think his confidence has been dented. I think the weekend result, obviously, it didn't go well for him either. But I feel like, those players were given a rocket before this game saying, we need to produce a result. We need to get the fans back on side. We don't find a result. The criticism is going to be high above me. The people will pinpoint the fingers at me when it's really the players that are producing on the pitch. And I feel like, you can't pinpoint fingers at the manager. This is not Erik ten Hag's fault. He is stuck with what he's got. He knows that squad isn't good enough deep down, but, he can't say what I feel like he wants to say, because when you've got clueless Muppets, clueless owners running this club deeper and deeper into the abyss, taking money and dividends out this football club, not enough is being done by the fans and supporters. Not enough is being done to force these owners out of this football club. And I feel like if there should have been protests tonight, there needs to be protests again at the weekend ahead of the Everton game. We need to force these owners out, because if they're still in next season, God fucking help us. Where are the results going to come from? Where's the new players going to come from? Where's this team going to go under Erik ten Hag next season if the Muppets that run this club, basically Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog from Sesame Street, if you still got them in next season, we are screwed. If we can step it up next season and we've still got this manager and we are bringing in world-class talent, this club will get Champions League football. I'm more confident now after we got the result. When it was still 0-0 and it was still 1-0 heading to 90 minutes, I was thinking, shit, we don't win this game, the backlog is going to be crazy and the criticism will be justified. I think those players knew, thinking, shit, we better win this game tonight, because if we don't win this game, it's going to look really fucking bad on social media and we are going to get so much crap off it. But it would have been justified. You can't keep holding these players' hands for them. They are grown human beings. They're professional footballers who earn way too much a week and get away with a load of crap. And I don't think, for me, that's fair. They're earning hundreds and £1,000s a week. And I feel like for me, they need to start stepping up more in big games like this, because Brentford are going to become a big force. They will be a Premier League top 6, top 7 side the next 5-6 years. Brentford aren't going anywhere this season, and they ain't going to go anywhere next season. And if I was Brentford fans, I would start getting excited, because you keep playing like that, you could win trophies. You could get Champions League football. You get players in next season and you're in European football. That Brentford team is going to be scary to watch, because it's going to be like, bloody hell. You know what? I've got a lot of respect for Brentford. I really do. Their fans, their supporters, their manager, their squad, their coaches, their manager. I've got so much respect for them for what they've done in this Premier League. They've completely transformed this league from what it was a few seasons ago. Brentford have come up saying, we ain't fearing this. We can go to Old Trafford and win. But it's because the history books aren't in their favour. They knew that a win was probably the most unlikely outcome that was going to happen. But they realised that, if Man United can't beat Newcastle, there could be something there for us to get. But they didn't take it. And I feel like if Brentford would have had the Mbeumo and Ivan Toney for it a bit more, this game would have ended probably a lot differently. And it could have done. It could have ended Brentford winning. It could have ended Brentford drawing. It could have been them nicking a 90th minute equaliser. That is what I like, that at least Man United have got this over the line and just. Marcus Rashford's basically come to the rescue again. Can we keep doing that week in, week out? And the answer is no. We need better to keep finishing the job. You don't finish the job, you drop more points from now, this season could turn into a car crash at the end of May. It could be so horrific. The scene at the end is going to be a disaster. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But, we've got the win, we've got the result. We need to take this win now and the confidence we've got from this into the game at the weekend, because we are taking on an Everton team on Saturday afternoon that are fighting for their lives to stay in this league. They are fighting for their survival as a football club altogether. Obviously, they broke financial fair play rules. Let's hope they get justifiably done and justifiably be given a result that is going to damage their football club. They should be deducted points. They shouldn't even be in the Premier League still. They broke the rules and got away with it. They got away with a lot last season, Everton. And hopefully we have to beat them at the weekend. Like I said, their survival of their club is on the line. They get relegated and get a points deduction. Everton get relegated. Everton couldn't survive. We don't want that to happen. We don't want Everton going out of business. We don't want Everton getting bankrupt. We don't want Everton not being a football club anymore. That would be a disaster for English football if Everton were to go out of business. We don't want that to happen, but we have to bury their morale deeper on Saturday. We need to put them in the. We basically need to put them in the morgue. We basically need to beat them on Saturday as well. We have to keep winning now. There's no excuses for draws. There's no excuses for defeats. We have to keep performing in every single game we've got now. This Premier League season is going to be tight. It's between Newcastle, it's between Man United, and it's between Spurs. That, for me, is probably going to be the top 4 that is going to get decided on the last day of the game before. I feel like we will get Champions League football after this game tonight, but we have to win now against Everton. It becomes crucial that we win our next few games, because the pressure is then on Newcastle, the pressure is then on Spurs, and hopefully we can dent our rivals around us from not winning their games, and we can keep increasing the gap. Because we've increased the gap over Liverpool tonight. We've increased the gap over Spurs. We've increased the gap over Chelsea. Also Fulham, Brentford, Brighton, even Aston Villa to an extent. We are increasing the gap between us and them. That is what we've got to keep on doing. We've got to keep, increasing the gap so our rivals can't catch us. We need our results to mathematically make it impossible in the next few games till the end of this season to secure Champions League football. We get top 4. We're back at Europe's elite competition next season under a new manager with a better squad and better players and proper owners that run this club properly. And hopefully it will be the Qataris. Hopefully they win that bid. Hopefully they buy this football club and we chuck fucking loads of money at this squad. Go and get players like Harry Kane and Osman, Frankie de Jong, Jude Bellingham, and you get rid of half that deadwood that still exists in that dressing room. This team ain't going nowhere. Man United are never going to die. We are the best fans and supporters in the world. We are the best supported club in the world. And basically, without that fans, this football club is nothing. Without the supporters, that football club ain't there. We make this football club win. We become the 12th man, and we make this team win. And I'm proud they've won tonight. I'm glad they found some kind of response from Sunday. It was a damaging result against Newcastle, but that has been put to bed now. Let's still hope we can still improve in future games. Let's hope we can start still putting up better difficult teams away and we can start scoring a few more goals. Everton are there for the taking at the weekend. We must beat them and get the result we need. So I hope you enjoyed the video. So remember to hit the like button, share button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner to United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button, retweet button. Put the notification bell on all times as well. We'll carry on with more Hogwarts Legacy. Kingdom Hearts 4 is coming really, really soon as well. FIFA 23 Career Mode, Football Manager. We've now started Rocket League as well. So we're also going to be doing that weekly now and throughout the rest of our days as well. We're doing Rocket League, got Football Manager, FIFA 23 Career Mode, a new Formula 1 game. More previews, more match reactions. And we've obviously got the preview for the Everton game coming up tomorrow afternoon. On Thursday afternoon, we're doing the preview for the Everton home game for the weekend for the Saturday's game. So look out for that preview tomorrow afternoon. Go and check out for my other socials. I'm on TikTok, also on Twitter now. So go and give me a follow and subscribe on both of them. And then obviously both of these will then lead to this channel. So subscribe to this channel as well. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Stay safe, be nice and be kind to each other. You're all legends. You're all legends in your own way. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Thanks for watching. Come on United. Come on you Reds. Up Man United. We've got the win and we've beat Brentford. Thanks for watching.